Oh, Jesus. I just hit myself in the face.
That was
with a
loud.
mic.
I heard it. It was like, doing.
God damn!
There's a spring in there.
There is this spring.
It's like one of those,
It's this thing.
microphones from like Party City. You get little kids.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
little springies in them.
Yeah. Okay. We're on EP 5 here.
Yep.
She's have a stroke.
I was thinking more like Weezer. Is it Weezer? Do 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 do.
Okay, I'm with you.
Didn't come out like that.
Okay.
I just show up to drink the coffee.
I mean, you didn't drink my coffee today, but it's pretty good coffee.
It's usually very superb.
Today it's actually probably not that good.
Yeah, you got to get a cup.
I have to finish this half of a beer. I'm going to get the sweet spot between drunk and caffeinated tonight.
Yeah, I read that text. That's a solid plan.
I thought so too. I was like, I won't get drunk,
No.
and I won't get overly caffeinated.
Yeah. I don't know what that's called. Hyper? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, this is one of the beers that we made.
Ooh,
Do you
I
see
knew
how I'm
it
drinking
was.
it out of a glass? Yeah.
I could smell it when I
Like
walked in, and I was like, that's one we made. I
You could
know.
was it on my breath or was it in the glass?
I think it's in the glass.
Okay, thank God. Anyway, some interesting shit happened to me this week.
Let me hear about it.
Well, I got some goddamn food poisoning.
Oh, son of a bitch, you got so much food poisoning.
I know.
I really wish that you had made the food. Spoiler alert. I wish that you had made the food.
I know, me too, because I don't make food.
Yeah.
So then it would have been like a valid reason for fucking my life up.
And I think it's really funny that you literally just learned how to cook chicken like a week ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't tell everyone that Brandon's the
Learned.
bread maker. Yeah, quote unquote learned.
Yeah.
I won't get into that right now.
Okay, yeah, that could be a discussion for another time.
Yeah,
But you got food poisoning.
I did. I got food poisoning from food that Brandon made. I would like to point out who is like the chef in the family.
I would also like to point out that not just you got food poisoning, but like your whole family got food poisoning.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got food
no.
poisoning, and Brandon got food poisoning, and my baby boy got food poisoning.
Not cool, man.
It was like the most awful 24 hours of our lives.
Here's the thing about food poisoning is it'll fuck you up for like a solid at least year where you're like, I'm never eating that food again.
Oh yeah, I'm not touching that again.
It's really funny too because you got food poisoning off of chicken. And when we were younger, you got food poisoning off of chicken. Like, how do you still eat chicken?
Well, when we were younger, it was smoked barbecue chicken, which
Yeah.
sounds fucking tits, right? It was. Trust me, going down, I was like, damn, this is the best meal I've ever had. And then it all came back, and I didn't eat barbecue for like 6 years, and I didn't eat smoked stuff for like,
Now, still.
yeah, like I'm barely getting back into the smoked stuff. And like I can do barbecue chips. Sometimes barbecue, like barbecue
Real.
sauce on a chicken or whatever, like makes me like,
Not feel it. Not feeling it.
But I can do it, but I won't go out of my way for it at all. So basically, I'm just narrowing down my food. That's how I stay thin.
Yeah. Okay, so how's everyone doing now?
We're all good now. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope that you can eat chicken again.
Thank you. And I hope so too. Hashtag someday.
Someday. Well, on a similar note, that's kind of like my unfortunate circumstance today as well, aka my goddamn of my week, is that this morning my little sunny boy woke up and he sounded so congested, and when I picked him up, he had snot all over his face, and I was like, fuck, he's getting sick.
No, little
Yeah,
man.
but at least he's not like vomiting and shitting everywhere. He's just got like a runny nose. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just from like his teeth coming in or something, but
yeah.
all I'm thinking is, like, the boys are about to go to Vegas for a bachelor party, so we're about to have to be single moms for the weekend.
God, that's gonna suck.
And mine's getting sick, so I'm like, motherfuck.
Well, maybe he'll just sleep a lot.
That would be really nice. I can't even complain because we went to Bombay that one weekend, and my son was sick, and Lee had to take him to urgent care by himself. He had to get his mom to come help him. I felt so bad.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
That would be awful. Brandon, I would have had to like go home because we don't have family here. And Brandon
Yeah.
would have been like,
Get here now.
yeah, like I don't know what you want me to do because,
Also, Bombay was only 24 hours.
yeah, that's true.
And we were too drunk to drive home.
That's
Brandon
fair.
would have had to figure it out.
Like, you can come out here. I'm sure there's a fucking hospital in Brawley.
And not to mention that there are single parents that do this all the time, and I'm like not even willing to take him to the grocery store alone. I'm like,
Dude.
fuck it, we don't get lunch this week.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna eat because we don't have anything. So good luck,
And
kid.
I'm not going alone.
I
So
couldn't
lazy.
do it. That's props to the single ladies out there,
Oh
single
my
moms
God.
out there,
Well,
and
and
single
single
ladies, whatever.
dads.
Fuck it.
And single dads.
And single dads,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do
Single
that shit.
people with
Yeah.
children. It's fucking your heroes.
Yes.
I don't know how you do it.
True heroes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, am I going first today?
yes, you are.
Okay, everybody. Fair warning.
Oh,
This case has a lot of information and a lot of different sources say different things, so I tried to compile everything as best as I could. So it's going to be a stumbling journey together.
I'm excited.
So bear with me. All right, so my story for this week. It is the case of Jonathan Luna. Okay, so Jonathan Luna, he was a 38-year-old male who lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and he was married and had 2 sons. And he worked as an assistant U.S. attorney, and he was basically a prosecutor, and he convicted sexual predators, drug dealers, drug rings. He put away a lot of bad people.
all right.
Okay? So basically, this guy was like explained as like a very loving, hardworking person. And friends who were like interviewed after this incident were saying like a lot of prosecutors and stuff are like hard asses and like, you know, kind of hard people because they have to do like hard work. And by hard, I mean like emotionally hard, right? Like
Yeah.
you're dealing with fucking sexual predators and you have to like put these people away. That shit's gotta fuck with you.
Yeah, well, you have to spend like some of your day with them too. So
Yeah,
it's
that's got to be like real hard. But this guy was just like super happy, very go lucky. He wasn't the typical prosecutor person that you would imagine. Like he wasn't some hard ass. Even in his pictures, he's got like this bright smile and he looks like you would be his friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, since we're talking about people talking about his character, his cousin did like an interview I saw on YouTube, and she was saying that one of the last times she saw him, they were all sitting around and talking, and out of nowhere, he just kind of got quiet and was like, I really hate my job. Like, you know how you have those moments with certain jobs where you're just like, fuck, man, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It sounded like he had that moment with his family. So, despite
Ooh.
all of this, there was something going on where he was like, I'm not very happy in my job. Which isn't that surprising, but just a side note, even though he was really good at it and all this stuff, he, for some reason, was hating it.
Yeah.
So on December 4th, 2003, Jonathan was working on a case that involved 2 men that were selling heroin. And they were selling heroin out of their music studio. And they got caught. And I just want to let you know that the music studio's name was Stash House Records. What a fucking terrible name for like a music studio where you're selling.
Yeah, like it's
So-
very subtle. Very subtle.
Obviously, they fucking got caught. And one of the guys that was on trial was facing a murder charge also.
Jesus. Wait, one of the guys that got caught at the Stash House Records thing?
Yep, he was on trial for murder, too.
Okay.
I don't know if it was the same case, but whatever. He was dealing with some bad people.
All right.
They were wheeling and dealing.
All right. All right.
And murdering. They were wheeling and dealing
Obviously.
and stabbing. So, this Jonathan guy was due in court the next morning to offer the men a plea deal. Because I guess this is one of those things that I can't really get a clear picture on, but I guess Jonathan was working on the case and he was a really good prosecutor, but for some reason he was having a hard time on this one, like gathering evidence or whatever to really go after them. So him and his coworker were working on a plea deal to give these guys. Okay, so he's working late. 9 o'clock rolls around, and he calls his coworker, who he's working on the plea deal with, and he tells him that he's going to head home, and he'll see him in the morning. And then at 9:30, he calls his coworker again and leaves a voicemail saying that he's going to fax him the plea deal later.
Mm-hmm.
But the fax never came. I don't know why he called again at 9:30 to be like,
Hey, man, I'll fax you in a minute.
yeah, because he told him at 9, I'm going home, and then he calls him again at 9:30 and leaves a voicemail being like, hey, I'll fax you this plea deal. Maybe it was like his seal of approval, like, I'm done, I'm going to fax this to you later.
Yeah, it could have been that. Or, like, I'll do that with proofs or something where you just, like, throw out, like, a, hey, man, check your email, like, it's on its way.
Oh, good point. Maybe, like, it's coming.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
out for it.
Because it's 2018, we don't have fax.
That's true.
So I haven't faxed in a while, but...
Yeah, right? Also, like, He's waiting for this fax that never came. Fucking welcome to the party. We're all waiting for faxes that never came. That shit was shady. Like, you never knew. You're like, I think it sent.
I'm getting a fax. I don't have a fax machine.
Okay, so then he goes home. And he gets a phone call, and he tells his wife, I have to go back in the office. And this is like 11 o'clock at night. And she says she doesn't know, like, who calls or anything. He doesn't specify. But at 11 o'clock at night, he goes back in to finish up this plea deal thing or something.
Okay.
It seems kind of like weird and erratic behavior, but I'm not a prosecutor, and I've never tried to write up a plea deal.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird. Anyways, at 11:38 p.m., his car is seen leaving the parking garage, and he left behind his phone and his glasses on his desk, but he needs his glasses to drive.
Oh.
So the theory is that he left in a hurry, obviously, but he was only
Well,
at
if he
work for,
needs
like-
them to drive, like, how badly does he need them to drive?
I don't know. Everything just said he needed them to drive.
All right.
So it's, like, suspicious that he would leave them. But is it, like, me who needs them to drive, where I'm like, it's much safer if I wear them when I'm driving?
Yeah,
but
like,
it's not
everyone would
required.
appreciate it
Yeah.
if I wore them.
But, like-
especially at night.
Yeah, but, like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially at night. Can't see shit.
Or is it like Brandon needs them to drive, like
'Cause
he
he's
can't see
fucking
2
blind.
feet in front of his face?
But then I feel like he wouldn't have taken them off.
Yeah,
It was
no,
that
that's
bad.
true. That's very true. Okay, so his eyesight's probably not legally blind.
Yeah.
However, he needs them to drive.
And here is another timeline that gets a little confusing, but it's really confusing because I don't know geography.
Okay.
So I'll do my best. So his car is seen leaving the parking garage. So like I said, he lived in Baltimore, Maryland. So at 11:30, he's seen leaving the parking garage, and he's driving, and he's actually captured on a handful of toll road cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's seen at 1 a.m. crossing into Delaware, or on the Delaware Turnpike.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. And at, let's see, at 12:57 a.m., his debit card was used somewhere in Delaware to withdraw $200 from the ATM. But the ATM's camera wasn't working, conveniently enough.
Seriously.
Yeah, so you don't actually see that it's him, but his card was used.
Okay.
Also, in all of the cameras for the toll roads and the parking garage, you don't see him
'Cause
because
it's
like
nighttime.
yeah, it's grainy ass footage. You just see his car. So far, no like actual footage of his body and him are seen. And then at 2:30 a.m., he's seen getting on the New Jersey Turnpike. And then at 3:20, he's seen on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So
Jesus.
basically, this guy's driving all night. He's crossing state lines. He's seen multiple times on toll road cameras. He stops in Delaware to pull out $200 worth of cash.
And by he, you mean quote unquote
His car.
he.
Yeah,
his
his
car.
car.
His car is seen.
Exactly. In one of the states, he stops and gets gas and soda and a snack. And people claim to have seen him and said that he was like perfectly calm and normal and nothing was going on, nothing shady or anything.
And he's described as like him?
yeah.
Like they showed pictures or something?
Yeah, but like
Huh.
when they go back and look at the footage, there's no footage of him
Ugh.
actually going in and doing any of this stuff.
But there's witness accounts. That's pretty all right. If you're shown a picture of a person, be like, hey, you see this guy?
But you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever seen the okay, I'm gonna get old school. Have you ever seen the movie 9 Honest Men, I think it's called, or something like that?
No.
12 Honest Men, because it's a jury. and
I was
there's
going to
12.
say it sounds like a jury, but less people.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that's basically what it is. But one of the things is like you can't count on witnesses and like what they remember because they don't remember shit and they think they do, but they don't.
I've seen a lot of like documentaries and or studies done on it where it'll have like a group of people or whatever and they'll stage a robbery and then they'll take all of the people in that area at that time and be like, what did you see? And they'll all say things and then they will present a thing like, did you see this person? And that will alter their memory
Oh,
to where it's like,
almost
yeah,
like,
he was wearing a
it's
yellow
like you're
jacket.
priming them, like, hey,
Yeah, like you can alter a person's memory just by
I wonder. If,
suggesting a thing because then they can just like throw it in like, yeah, he was he was wearing a jacket, it was probably yellow, it was like a light color, but you're like, yeah, yellow,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden he's wearing a yellow jacket in their memory.
yeah.
But
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if that's what happened here. Because on all the footage, he's not actually seen buying snacks or gas or anything.
but they don't have any footage, right? Like it's not like another guy or like he's not there.
well,
Or there's
that's
a lapse.
that's the thing is like they're still like it's still an open investigation. Foreshadowing.
Bum, 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 bum.
It's still an open investigation, and they're still trying to determine if somebody on this footage could be linked to it or not.
Oh shit!
Because there is footage, but it's just not him. But I don't know if they could tell like who it is. You know how like why is security? Okay, it is 2018.
Yeah.
Why is security footage so shitty still?
Seriously, like my fucking cameras and watching my dogs when I'm away at work is better.
I know. I don't get it. Why is this so crappy? Can we all upgrade our cameras, please?
Seriously, Amazon, bitches.
Get it together. Okay, another thing about his whole journey of all his cars and everything that's interesting to note is that when he was going through all these toll roads, he had an Easy Pass, one of those electronic thingies, so you don't have to like stop. You can just drive through and it charges it to your card.
Yeah. Yeah, it like scans it for you.
Yep. Okay, so he had one of those, and for like the first couple turnpikes, he used that. And then once he stopped in Delaware and got the $200 from the ATM, he started using cash. Like he stopped at the toll booth and was like paying cash.
Someone doesn't want to be found.
And then and then one of the either that or maybe somebody else started driving and didn't know he had it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And then one of the toll booth tickets had blood on it.
Is there any way to tell if it was his ticket?
Yep, it was, and it was his blood.
No!
Yep.
What?
Yeah. So he's in Pennsylvania now. He gets gas,
Okay.
gets snacks, gets back on the turnpike at 4:04 a.m.
Ooh.
This is the last toll ticket that has the blood on it. So he gets the gas, then he goes through a toll, hands him a ticket, and it's bloody. And then his next known whereabouts are at 5 o'clock in the morning, where his car was parked behind a well drilling company in Denver, Pennsylvania. So I don't know how far away
Alright.
that is from the turnpike, but I mean, it took him like an hour to get there, right?
Okay.
So it's like an hour away.
I would assume maybe he took a couple loops. We don't know.
Perhaps. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. It was like his whole map to get to where he is right now, to Denver, Pennsylvania, he didn't take like a direct route. It's almost like he didn't know where he was going. Like he gets off of a turnpike and gets back on a turnpike.
All right.
And when you don't live there, it's really hard to follow what the fuck that means.
That's very fucking true.
Okay, so at 5:30 a.m., somebody who works at the well digging company, he's outside and he's like gassing up his cars or whatever for the day's fleet, and he notices that there's a red light in the bushes.
No.
He walks over there, and it turns out to be Jonathan's car, and it's
Wait, in the bushes?
in the bushes. So it's no longer in the parking lot. It had driven
Oh.
like down into these bushes or into this like bramble, I don't know, and
Okay.
into a creek. Like the nose of the car was in a creek.
Oh shit.
And the light he had been seeing was a light on the dashboard. And he looked inside the car, and there was blood everywhere. And there's blood all over the driver's side of the door, all over the like driver's side of the fender. And when he looks in the creek, Jonathan is face down in the creek. Yeah. He calls the cops. They find Jonathan dead underneath the car. Like he's in the creek face down, and he's like, I only read this in one article, but I guess he was kind of like under the car's engine. So like under the nose of the car.
Yeah.
I don't really
So
know.
he was probably like got out of the car, tried to get away from a person.
Fell. Maybe the car
Yeah.
kept rolling on him or something.
Ugh.
I don't know. He wasn't like he was crushed by the car. It just said that he was
yeah.
under
He's
it.
Just under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was wearing his suit for the day, like his work suit, and he had on like an overcoat, and he had his court badge around his neck, and he had been stabbed 36 times
Jesus Christ.
with his own knife. And it was like a pen knife, which I guess is kind of like a small pocket knife.
Oh my
Kind
god.
of like a Swiss Army knife is called a pen knife.
Okay.
So like a small, it wasn't like a huge knife or anything, but he had been stabbed with his own knife. His hands had been shredded, like defense wounds,
Oh.
and his scrotum and throat had been slashed at.
Oh god.
Yeah, this guy got attacked. But he didn't die from being stabbed and bleeding out or anything. He actually ended up dying from drowning. His cause of death was drowning because he was face down in the creek. So maybe he was like bleeding
Like
so much.
unconscious.
Yeah, yep.
Jesus.
So in the car, the investigators found the toll tickets, like all the toll tickets that he went through, and they all had blood on them. Maybe not all, I don't know. Toll
Yeah,
tickets with
someone
blood.
had it.
Yeah. Some reports say that there was a puddle of blood in the back seat, and others say that there was a puddle of blood in the floor well of the back seat. So if it's in the back seat, that would indicate that that's where he got stabbed at and he wasn't driving, right?
Yeah.
But if it's on the floorboard of the back seat, then he could have been and also in the driver's seat, he could have been driving and bleeding out onto the floorboard, and it was going into the back seat.
Yeah.
I don't know which is true or which is what.
Okay.
Also, there was money and quote unquote cell phone equipment strewn all about the car, scattered all over the car. So that $200 that he pulled out, or maybe like the change of it, I don't know the exact amount, it was like thrown all over the car. I also read, side note, that the money was all around his body. So I don't know which is which. I'm going to guess it was in the car. But I kind of think that...
I mean, maybe it was like some of it was in the car, and also it was like on his lap, and you know when you get out of your car,
it like falls out or
Yeah.
something. Just
Yeah.
like money flying around in the car as you're going through all this.
and then you like faceplant into some water, there'd be money around your body.
Yeah, maybe it's both.
Ugh, that's awful.
Yeah. His death was ruled a homicide.
What?
By
That's
the coroner.
surprising.
Yeah, right? There were 3 coroners that reviewed this case. The first coroner was like, this is a homicide. And the FBI was like, there's no proof that anybody else was there. So they brought in a second coroner, and they were like, you need to rule this a suicide. And that second coroner refused. They were like, there's no way that this is a suicide.
The police wanted him to.
The FBI.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And then there was a third coroner that even backed them up, saying, like, for sure, this is not a suicide. This is a homicide. So
Why were they so insistent on it being called a suicide?
that's kind of one of, like, the sketchy things about the case. Like,
Yeah.
why? Why
Yeah.
do they want it so bad? Is it because they don't know who did it or what
They
happened?
just
Or are
don't
they
want to investigate it.
are they
or-
covering something up?
Yeah.
The coroner announces, like, publicly that he had been, quote-unquote, brutalized with multiple stab wounds, and he notes that some of the stab wounds are shallow, which could indicate torture. But then the FBI, who are saying, like, this is a suicide, they're saying that it could indicate hesitation wounds. Like, if you're going to stab yourself, you kind of, like, test it.
No, you
Like,
wouldn't.
Well, you go to stab and you're like, fuck, that hurts, and you like pull out. It's like a hesitation wound, and then you work up like the frustration or the anger or whatever to like actually stab yourself.
Ugh, okay.
So another thing that goes along with like the FBI's theory of a suicide is they're saying that Jonathan was actually under investigation because one of the cases that he had tried was like a robbery or something, and as evidence he brought in a big old stack of money that they had stolen. Or, like, all of the money that they had stolen. And one of those stacks went missing after the case. So, he wasn't being tried or anything, but he was
under investigation
Yeah.
for
Yeah, and he was supposed to do, like, a polygraph for it.
it. Ooh.
And I guess it was, like, $3,600. Or no, not $3,600.
It's not enough to fucking stab yourself 36
No.
times for.
I meant to say $36,000. But still,
Oh.
I agree. Not enough money to stab yourself.
Significantly more, but I probably wouldn't kill myself for $36,000 on account of you can't spend it.
Yeah, I gotta spend that shit first. Well, that's what they were saying was like, well, okay, Jonathan had $25,000 in debt, and so he stole this money to pay off his debt. But the problem is he still had the $25,000 in debt when he died, and they didn't find $36,000 on him. So
Yeah.
I don't think that was the case. But they were saying, like, okay, this was too much for him to deal with, so he killed himself. But $25,000 in debt is, like, nothing.
Yeah. This day
Welcome
and age.
to the fucking club.
Yeah.
Some theories suggest that his death is actually connected to that drug ring case that he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was, like, putting away bad people, right?
Yeah.
But those 2 people that he was prosecuting were in jail at the time.
Oh,
So-
but they probably have connections.
Yeah, they could probably hire someone. And then, coincidentally, a district attorney that was working on another drug ring case, he went missing in 2005. So that's only 2 years later. They've never found him. He's still missing. So I don't know if it's related. It is in Centray County District Attorney is what his official title was. So I don't know where the Centray County is. Maybe it's just Center with an E at the end. Nope, it's Centray. I reread it.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 years later, and drugs and shit, so you're dealing with bad people. I don't know if I believe the connection. I don't know if I believe the hype, but maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right.
Basically, the FBI still claims it's a suicide, but, like, how the fuck... Like, what? If you're going to go commit suicide and you're going to stab yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's cool, whatever, I guess. I still disagree with that. I'll get to that in a minute. But if you go driving for, like, 100 miles, why wouldn't you take your glasses? Even if you're going to kill yourself. Like, I need to see where I'm going to go.
Yeah, but also I'm not going to stab myself a bunch of times in the hands.
Yeah, that's what's so weird. Is like, for sure, those are defensive wounds. Also, he had stab wounds in his back. You're not going to stab your back.
Yeah, you're not going to stab your back. That's like one of the other ones that you did with that guy. And
Yeah,
he had
John
stabs
Lang.
up your back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, okay, so the whole toll road thing. Why the fuck is that word so hard for me?
Because you're from California. We
The
don't have
whole
those.
toll road thing. Like, why would you use your Easy Pass and then switch to using cash?
Well, I mean, maybe you're trying to stay anonymous.
Yeah, like if you don't want to be electronically tracked, so you switch to cash?
Yeah.
Or what if he isn't driving and the driver doesn't know that he has an Easy Pass, so he thinks he has to stop at these toll booths and pay?
I don't know, man. I feel like if you grew up in that area, though, and you're at all familiar with driving, then you're going to be familiar with that.
Square on your window or whatever?
Yeah, like that thing
Yeah.
in one shape or another. And so then you would know, like, A, where to look for it to see if they have it, and B, like, if they have it. That's it. You would know, like, to look where it should be and be like, oh, you get an Easy Pass. Well,
I
fuck
don't
it.
have to stop.
Like, I'm not going to pay cash. This fucking guy that I'm about to murder is going to pay.
Or maybe I was going to say maybe he was driving and the guy who was hurt, like Jonathan was driving and the guy who was hurting him was in the car. And so he thinks, I'm going to start paying in cash so maybe I can get somebody's attention. But then
But
why
it's
wouldn't
just a basket on the side? Like, there's no person.
Oh, okay, that's another thing I should mention. The report said that there was an attendant there.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but then also, if you're there, why wouldn't you be like, yo, why does this ticket have blood on it?
Like, ew. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, unless it was just like such a tiny little drop and they happen to go back and see.
And notice that there is
Yeah,
a smudge
like,
of blood.
through
Or, like, it's a smudge of
investigation.
dirt. Or it looks brown, but it's blood, you know?
Yeah, and then, okay, if the back seat is covered in blood, if that's where he was really stabbed, how are you going to be stabbed in the back seat but driving the car? I don't know. The whole thing is really weird.
But you could have been driving the car, or have, two people driving the car, or one person, technically, drive. You don't need to. One person driving the car, one person doing the stabbing, and then your victim.
Uh-huh.
And, there's just kind of a lot of blood everywhere. And so you hand up a ticket to the
you
guy,
get
the
blood,
driver,
yeah.
and, blood gets onto it or something.
Well, and if you're doing the stabbing, for sure you're getting that dude's blood on you.
Yeah, your hands are covered in blood.
Yeah, so maybe. Or maybe how does a toll road ticket work? Like, why did they have the ticket with them? Do you get a ticket at the
Yeah.
beginning and then you give a ticket at the end to be like, I
Yeah.
got it here?
You pick up a ticket as if to say, I got on at this exit or on ramp,
Oh.
and then when you exit is when the fucking tolls and shit are, and so then you would put your ticket in and it'd be like, okay, you traveled this distance,
Yeah,
this
and
how
then you
much
pay
is.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. The whole concept of toll roads kind of blow my mind. We don't have to talk about that, though. But I genuinely want to keep talking about it.
But also, toll roads.
Yeah,
Am I right?
fucking right.
Where did we leave off?
Okay, this is an open investigation still to this day because they ruled it a homicide because the coroners refused to call it a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
It's still considered an open investigation, so they can't release much of the police report. Like, they're holding shit back, and then they won't release the autopsy or anything like that. So all this information we've gotten about, his hands being shredded and stuff actually came from firsthand accounts of people who were there, morticians, who had to,
Oh.
sew his hands together. Were like, no, they were shredded so bad that I literally couldn't sew them back together. We had to put gloves on him for his healing.
Jesus.
Yeah. So all of it, none of this this is why it's so hard to get it, the correct information or to get a linear path
Because
of what
all
happened.
of the information hasn't been released.
Exactly. So it's all coming from media. It's all coming from family. It's all coming from people who were like, nah, but I was there.
Yeah.
And then you have the FBI jumping in. So some witnesses are like, I saw him here. And they're like, that's impossible because his camera, we saw his car at this point in time. And then we saw his car 30 minutes later here. And it would be impossible for him to get there in that time. So it's hard.
Yeah.
It's just so hard. Also, I wrote here that there was a partial print found at the scene. Like,
Ooh.
so there is another...
You would think that there would be some prints in
Yeah.
his blood at least.
or
Like,
something, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be DNA and shit all over that place.
yeah.
And there was a second blood type found.
I was gonna say, if you stab a person fucking 36 times, you're bound to cut yourself a little bit.
That was another thing noted about this knife. I guess penknives, some of them don't lock. So there is potential that, like, the blade doesn't lock when you open it. So there's
Yeah.
potential if you were using that to stab somebody that it would close on your own hand and cut yourself.
Owie.
So maybe that's how this other blood type... Or he clearly fought back. His
Yeah,
hands were
yeah.
cut up and all this stuff. But they haven't found a match for, like, the print or the blood or anything yet. Oh, also I want to note, like, the cuts to his scrotum and stuff.
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
the whole, like, torture theory of, like, that's why there's these shallow things. That seems like a pretty fucking effective way to torture somebody.
Yeah.
Instead of suicide.
Why,
Yeah.
though,
I don't
would
know.
come into question. Because you've already driven this person, like, way out of state. Or
Yeah.
had them drive you way out of state.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, no good's gonna come of that if you're fucking crossing state lines, first of all.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna torture him, like, what are you gonna torture him for? Hey, don't take this case?
I don't know. I
Like-
have no idea. Like, what was...
Hey man, I'm friends with a lot of fucking DAs and judges and shit. You think you're gonna get away with this? Like, I'm sorry, but there's kind of like you're not gonna get away with this. There's almost no other option.
I don't know.
Which I guess maybe that's just like their sadistic shit. But
Well, maybe it's like the people that were part of Stash House Records were like, yo, man, back up off our peeps.
this is what happens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send a message to all y'all.
let this be a message. And the FBI's like, whoa, message received. Say it was a suicide.
It was a suicide.
I don't know.
But did the case go on or anything? Do you know?
It's still open.
No, like the
Oh.
Stash House Records case.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look into that. There's like podcasts and stuff out there that like get real deep into it and are like real, you know.
Real informed.
Yeah. Like I said before, I'm here for entertainment purposes, and I was looking at this case and I was like, dude found dead in a creek, was stabbed, actually died from drowning, and there was money everywhere. I need to tell Aaron about this. And then I started getting into it and I was like, fuck, this is complicated. This is way above my pay grade.
Well, don't worry.
Because we're not getting paid?
No, I was gonna say because mine's a doozy.
Ooh, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
I'm just gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
My case is about Tim McNeil.
Uh-huh.
He's a 63-year-old defense attorney.
Oh, how funny that we picked, like...
We both picked defense attorneys.
yeah. So weird.
Actually, yours is a prosecutor. Mine's a defense attorney.
Whatever. Close enough. They work together.
So, this happened on Thursday, July 19th, 2007.
Ooh.
4 shots were heard in San Diego, California.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Mhm.
Did they ring out across the city?
They rang out across,
Oh, no.
and one neighbor saw a man running down a pathway but lost sight of him. And he said it looked like he was trying to run away from a situation.
From some gunshots.
Yeah. He said from a situation. Like he had just done some shit
Yeah.
and was running.
Yeah.
Right?
We got a situation. I need to leave.
Mm-hmm. The police were called by Bray Hansen.
Stop it. I just crunched my eyes twice.
Because you were so excited.
I'm so excited. Everybody, just so you know, this is somebody that we went to high school with.
This is totally somebody we went to high school with.
Okay.
So, the police were called, and she said that she and her stepfather had been tied up, and her stepfather had been shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit of background before we get into the nitty gritty of this bitch.
Okay, let's get the background.
Doreen Hansen married Tim McNeil. I would like to point out that Doreen Hansen was Senora McNeil.
Was your fucking Spanish
Was
teacher.
my fucking Spanish teacher.
Yep. I didn't have her.
You didn't have her?
Nope.
You're so lucky.
Okay. Maybe not the nicest thing to say.
I was a good student, all
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And she was the one and only teacher to give me an in-school suspension.
Ooh,
Like, she did not
she
like
was
me.
tough. She was a tough cookie.
She did not like me, but that's fine. So Doreen Hansen brought with her into this marriage 2 children, Bray, who
Yeah.
was 4 years old at the time, and Nathan, who was 6 years old at the time.
Oh, wow. So they were like...
They grew up with this guy.
Yeah.
They actually grew up, Bray called Tim daddy,
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Like, that was her dad.
Yeah.
That they were very close.
Yeah.
So, according to many reports, their upbringing with their mother was tumultuous, and she was often physically and verbally abusive.
Ugh. That makes sense why she was such a jerk of a teacher then.
Right? She was mean. According to Nathan, is a quote, she told me she was going to kill me and bury me in Mexico.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your mom said that?
Fucking right.
I mean, I get the whole, like, I brought you into this world, I could take you out, but that's a little descriptive.
Yeah, that's like, I have plans.
Yeah, shit.
I know people and I know places.
Yeah.
According to Bray, she was often suicidal, saying things like, what would you do if I just burned the house down?
Ugh.
Or what would you do if I just drove off the Coronado Bridge?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a messed up childhood
Yeah, that'll
to
fuck you up.
be raised in.
Yeah.
But Tim McNeil was seen as a savior who could calm Doreen and provide sanity for the kids. Like, he would, you know, like, that's enough, Doreen. Calm down, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
shit.
And she would, like, all right, fine.
Listen.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very nice guy. By all accounts and everything, he was a very happy guy. He was a funny guy. He was a great guy.
Uh-huh.
So Bray was, like, a good kid, and she was really studious and really smart and all that. Apparently, Nathan was more of, like, the troublemaker.
Uh-huh.
And so when he was 12, he went to live with his grandparents in Arizona, and he began to do better in school, and he really thrived out there.
Oh, so like getting out of the house, really.
Yeah, getting away from
The
that
tumultuous-
situation. Yeah. Bray stayed at home with her mother and Tim, but eventually chose to move to Tucson, Arizona to live with her brother, who was attending the U of A at the time,
Uh-huh.
because she thought that her mom was going to kill her. About 6 months later, Nathan receives a phone call from Doreen saying, I need to talk to Bray. Apparently she was threatening suicide at the time, and it wasn't the first time that she had done that, so he took it as another empty threat.
Uh-oh.
He didn't know that she had already swallowed a handful of pills. And
God.
the next morning, Tim McNeil found her dead in the office of their home.
Oh, God, that's so sad.
Really sad. A quote from Bray is, I guess she just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh. Solid quote. I'm such an asshole.
Fucking cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's all. Whatever.
I mean, is that the context of the quote?
No. But that's all that it gave me was that she, like, in remarks to it, she was like, I guess she just wanted to say goodbye. I can't say, like,
Yeah,
I'm
because maybe
saying
it
that.
was like...
I'm putting inflection. Like, I guess she just wanted to say goodbye.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
she said it.
That was my question. Thank you for answering it.
So, Bray moved back in with her stepfather when she was 17, and they became quite close again. Tim eventually began to see a lady named Kim. Bray allegedly wasn't too fond of sharing the attentions of Tim.
Ooh, jealousy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she was now, like, the only child in his home at the time, so
Yeah.
she had the full attention and all of that.
Yeah.
And he was doting on his new girlfriend.
And nobody likes their stepmom. I don't know what that called. Like, or girlfriend, not mom, because they're not married.
Stepmom twice removed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, no one likes their step-parent instantly, so they really don't like their step-parent.
Yeah. Well, anyone
Coming-
moving into your situation that you are happy in
Yeah,
is
stirs
going
it
to
up.
rock things up a little bit.
Stirs it up for sure.
Mhm. So then Tim's birthday rolls around, and he and Bray had set up a date to have lunch, but apparently he, quote, chose to go with his girlfriend Kim instead.
That's gotta be hard too. I mean, like,
kinda
listen,
fucked up.
this
Like-
girl has been through some shit.
Yeah, she's been through some shit, and I don't know. Even now, like, if I was like, hey, Dad, let's go to lunch, and he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, totally, and then later
Fails.
he's like, never mind, I'm going to go with my girlfriend to
Fuck
lunch.
that.
I'd be like, but, like, seriously?
But nah.
Like,
yeah.
I'll come too. What do
Yeah,
you
yeah, it
mean?
would definitely hurt your feelings.
Yeah. That most likely offended Bray.
Uh-huh.
Cut to a few days later. I have alternating accounts where it was saying that it was a few days later or it was saying just the next day.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive when it is. But they, I guess, had rescheduled for their lunch date, and he was supposed to come home and have lunch with her this day.
Okay.
Bray calls the police and tells them that she and her father have been tied up. Her father's been shot by a masked intruder.
Shit.
And the masked person had asked for the combination to the safe, but the father wouldn't give it. So they shot him 4 times and ran off, leaving Bray tied up.
This is what she said on the 911 call?
This is like a summation.
Yeah.
On the 911 call, she calls and says she needs an ambulance and that she's tied up and her father's been shot. And they ask where her father is, and she says he's on the ground. And they ask,
God.
Yeah, and then she had said they asked for the combination of the safe in one way or another. I don't remember the exact transcript of it, but that they had asked for the combination. The dad wouldn't give it, and so then they shot him
4 times.
Well, she didn't say that then.
Okay, I think that's what, like, I was questioning when I heard it. I was like, wait a minute, this seems, like, very
Rehearsed.
specific. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, she didn't say 4 times then. She said that they shot him, and then they asked, does he need an ambulance? And she said, I think he's dead.
Oh,
They asked, like, if they had gotten into the safe or whatever, and she said no. So, really sad, because that's an awful thing to witness as a child.
yeah,
And she's
fuck that.
17.
And, like,
she's a
just
child.
Imagine that you're, like, in the same house as your executed father.
Right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
The police show up. They find Bray tied up with zip ties. They find Tim with a dress shirt on, his pants off, a zip tie by his hand, and he's lying face down in a puddle of blood.
Ugh, his pants are off.
Yeah, weird, right? They never explain that. Just fucking before you ask.
Yeah.
They
you
never
seem to have a
explain
theme where your victims lose their pants.
That's how I search for my cases. So they find her in there and everything, and they're like, holy crap, obviously she's a victim.
Wait, how did she call 911?
See, that's where it comes into my research versus what I had heard before.
Yeah.
From what I heard before, it was that she had, like, knocked the phone off the fucking stand because it was in 2007 and people still had house phones.
Mm-hmm.
And then dialed 911 with her tongue because her hands were zip-tied behind her back.
I heard that also.
Okay.
That's why I was curious to see what your research found, if it was the same or not.
No,
They don't
my
mention it?
research didn't specify, but...
Like how the fuck she called if she was zip tied. Maybe she was
Yeah.
zip tied in front.
No,
Then
she was
that's-
zip-tied in back.
Okay,
They
I
were,
was
like,
gonna
specific about it.
I was gonna say that would be a weird way to zip tie somebody,
Yeah, like, here, you can still do all the things.
but they're just close. Your hands are close together.
So the police show up. They go and they talk to neighbors and any witnesses they might find.
Have you seen anyone running from a situation?
And that's how they found that guy that saw someone running from a situation. And the police find a bundle of clothes in a branch of a tree that was close by.
What a weird place to store your murdering clothes.
Yeah, but first of all,
Yeah.
who's just running from a thing and then, like, throws their evidence in a fit of joy
Into a tree?
into a like, up there. Like, at least take them with you to dispose of them later. Like, you're just gonna throw them near the crime scene?
Yeah, that's really weird.
But whatever.
Like, maybe they thought, like, no one's gonna look up here.
Right?
I'm a genius.
Yeah. Apparently it wasn't that hard to find because they found it immediately.
Oh, God.
And it happened to be a black shirt and a black ski mask.
Yeah.
She described the intruder as wearing all black with a black ski mask. That was also on the 911 call.
Okay. So, hey, we found his clothes.
Yeah, basically. And so then they talked to neighbors, and the neighbor was like, yeah, he ran down this path, he ran through these fucking oleanders, and I was like, this guy knows all of his goddamn shrubs.
Yes.
But he did. He said, do you know what an oleander is?
I don't.
I don't either.
Like a bird of paradise?
I don't know. I'm sure it has flowers. It sounds like it would have flowers.
Yeah. I
But-
bet they're all over the place, too, and we see them all the time.
I guarantee you I have them in my yard. So he had ran through these oleanders and into this path, which the neighbor was like, that's a perfect place that you would go if you knew the neighborhood. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
to get into and to get away, and because they lost sight of him.
This isn't random, in other words.
Yeah, basically. So Bray was taken to the police station and questioned about the events because she's the only eyewitness to a murder, which in and of itself is unusual for a home robbery, because why would you leave a witness? Like, if you're going to
Yeah.
kill a person, why would you leave a witness?
What's the advantage to keeping her alive?
Exactly. So they weren't suspicious of her initially, but they were, like,
Trying to figure it out.
confused by that.
Yeah.
And she said that the gunman's voice was disguised, and they asked how it was disguised or, like, what it sounded like, and she said, like a cartoon character. And
What? Oh my God. Wait. Do you remember Yak Backs?
I do, actually.
What if they had a Yak Back? Like, hang on, don't listen to me. Give me all your money. It plays
Give me
back.
all your money. Perfect.
Oh, shit.
Let me go outside and say all the things I need to say.
I only get 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was probably like that.
So it sounded like a cartoon character, she said.
Yeah, she said it sounds like a cartoon character, and the police found that odd because
Yeah.
generally a gunman would want to be found intimidating,
Yeah.
Whereas a cartoon character is not necessarily intimidating.
Hysterical.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of cartoon character?
She didn't specify.
Well, duh, but like, do you think it's like Bugs Bunny, like an old timey one?
Like, it's a me, Mario. Hey, I put it in the safe.
It's an Italian cartoon.
An
character.
Italian plumber.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, seriously, you know, some shit is going down, but that would be pretty funny.
Like, how do you not giggle as
I can't take you seriously.
the
Sit here.
entire world is being fuck it up?
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
it up.
Oh,
Oh, God.
damn.
So, they asked her that twice. What
Voice.
Yeah,
sound
what
it
his
was.
voice was disguised as, and she said a cartoon character. They asked her once, they wrote it down, and then we're like,
Are you sure?
what did you say? And she was like a cartoon character, and they're like, yeah, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like any like voice changers would be like that robot voice. Like, give me all of your money. Like, if you have a trach and you put one of those
Yeah,
things
yeah.
up to your neck to talk through it. Adios, turd nuggets. Like that.
I see.
Uh-huh.
So then they asked her where she would be comfortable staying the night. So she says her Aunt Bonnie and Uncle Rick's house. Uncle Rick is Tim's brother, by the way.
Okay.
They continued to question her at Bonnie and Rick's house a little bit, and
The police?
yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, she also called the gunman by name. She said something, 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 and then Nathan did this.
Bump, bump, bump.
Yeah. And so they let her finish the statement, and they wrote it down. Like, they made a note of that, but they let her finish the statement, and then they questioned her. You said the name Nathan a few minutes ago.
Yeah. And she was like, nuh-uh.
Yeah. So apparently it wasn't so much that she said the name, but that she denied saying it. Like, that was fucking suspicious.
Yep.
Because, like, anyone could be like, oh, sorry, like, meh, whatever.
Yeah.
Did I? Like, whoa, I
That's
had a
weird.
fucking crazy day, right?
Yeah, I'm pooped.
Yeah. But she was just like, no, I didn't. I don't know.
Like, got defensive about it, and they're like, I'm on to you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it kind of seems like she knows more than she's letting on, but they're like, whatevs, right? And not whatevs, but they let it slide.
Whatever, I'm gonna go home.
Whatever. Case closed.
Later.
It's just a dead guy. So they just kind of let it slide and let her stay the night with Aunt Bonnie and Uncle Rick. Well, apparently at some point during the night, her cousin Shelley showed Bray a sketch that was made by an artist talking to a neighbor about the man that they saw running through the neighborhood.
What he looked like?
Yeah.
Because he took off his fucking mask.
Yeah, and he threw it into a goddamn tree.
Uh-huh.
And Bray is quoted as saying, like, oh no, his chin wasn't that square. And
Oh.
Shelley was
Yeah.
like,
I thought you didn't see his face because he had the mask on, right?
fucking seriously. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's almost, yeah. She's like, really? I thought you said he was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So I guess Bray just kind of backed up, and Shelley told her father, Uncle Rick, that like that had happened, and Uncle Rick was like, call the detectives, like she knows something.
Get her out of here. Plus, my brother just died.
Yeah, like that's your brother. That sucks.
Yeah, seriously.
So at that point, the police, they believe that they have enough to arrest her because she has more information than she's letting on. They
Yeah.
already assumed that she had more information than she was letting on. So this is at like 11 p.m. This all happened. So the murder had happened like around lunchtime. He came home to have lunch with her.
Oh, God. Okay, so this is like 12 hours later.
Less
11
than
hours.
12 hours
Yeah.
later that she got arrested.
Yeah.
But they get to the house at like 11 or 11:30. They said to have her outside, and so they were sitting out back in like a little patio bench area. And
They told the family to have her outside? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So apparently she just stood up, turned around, and put her hands behind her back.
Oh, when they showed up?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
which according to the police seems extra guilty because an innocent person would protest.
They'd be like, I'm sorry. The fuck?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just went through
Like,
some shit. You're
hey
gonna
man,
arrest me?
what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although you
like-
don't want to resist, but also you'd be like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, like what? You
Yeah.
wouldn't just willingly be like, damn.
Yeah.
They
Got
said
me.
Yeah. They said it was typical of someone who knows they've been caught.
Yeah.
So the police take her to the station, they have her arrested, and they start asking her all kinds of questions and basically like calling her out on all of her
Shit she fucked up on?
discrepancies.
Yeah.
And she starts to claim that it was Nathan's idea, her brother.
Yeah.
saying that she had called him to complain one day, and he said he knew a guy who could take care of him, just leave money, a key, and a gun in a box outside, and the guy would pick it up and, quote, take care of him.
Oh shit. She was complaining about him being into the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Her stepdad being into his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And Nathan's response is, I got a fucking guy who will
Yeah, I can take care of that for you.
shit. But
No
I mean, I feel
problem.
like that would defeat her purpose, right? She wants to hang out with him.
Right? So the police contact the police in Arizona, and they're like, hey, fucking go get this guy.
Yeah.
They wake him up in the middle of the night, and they tell him he's under arrest, and he initially denies being in San Diego, but they told him that his sister had told them everything, and so he agreed to talk with them.
Okay, but this is the same day, right? It's 11 hours later.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
can get back to Arizona. I mean,
Yeah. No, you totally
yeah.
can.
Yeah, it's a long fucking day, but okay.
Yeah, it'll suck, but he was so tired, he was sleeping.
Yeah.
So during the interrogation, Bray admits to having a part in it. She said, I had some play in it, so yes, I did kind of start the whole thing, even if it was, I don't know, lapse of judgment or whatever. Fucking,
Yeah, a giant
Yeah.
one.
yeah. She tells them they planned to kill him several days earlier on his birthday. They had discussed baseball bats and poisoning
Oh my god.
and this fucking hitman guy.
Yeah.
But supposedly the hitman guy, didn't show up when she put the money in the box and all that outside.
Oh, okay.
And so she changed her mind, but the box is already gone, supposedly.
Like the guy came and got it eventually?
Yeah, or something.
Okay.
So then she tried to say that she tried to stop Nathan and thought about calling the police once or twice, but was too afraid, but he was already, like,
Going through with
basically
it.
hell-bent on this plot. So Bray had put the gun and the money and the key in the box that went missing. The gun she had gotten from, it was her mom's gun, apparently.
Yeah.
And she says that Nathan showed up with the gun belonging to Doreen.
Uh-huh.
And she
So he got the box.
supposedly,
Okay.
if there was a box.
Okay. What's in the box?
What's in the box? This is according to Bray. She said that Nathan said, you're going to tie his hands behind his back, then we'll kneel him down in the laundry room. He missed once, I know. Hit the side of his face once, I
Ugh.
know. Then he fired another shot in the back of his head once.
Oh my god.
And once more when he was down because he was twitching.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking
Fucking terrible.
right?
Ugh.
And she's
gross.
right there this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said that she gave the account seeming cold and callous.
Oh my god.
And that it appeared she was trying to cry, but no tears were coming out.
The fake one.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're trying to cry and the tears aren't coming out, just give up because we all know you're faking it.
Seriously. My kid does it all the time.
Little jerk.
Yeah. So basically, the brother and the sister are just blaming each other. Like, Bray is sitting here saying this is all Nathan's. Like, she originally planned it, but she tried to stop it, and then Nathan was like, nope, we're doing this.
Going through with it.
Yeah, and then Nathan saying, like, I mean, it was all her idea. Like, she's the one that orchestrated this whole
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Maybe not the best duo to go doing murder together.
Seriously.
Get your story straight. Or don't, because we want you to get caught, but you know.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe just don't commit murder.
Deal.
So Nathan's DNA was found on the mask that was found in the branch by the scene.
Yeah.
And during Nathan's trial, Bray was unwilling to testify against him, so her statements implicating him can't be used against him. So all the shit that she was like, he did all this, couldn't be used against him.
Oh, wow.
He had originally, when he was detained by police, was talking to them a little bit, and then he was eventually like, you know what, this is too crazy. I need a lawyer.
Yes, smart
And
move.
Yeah, and so then they were like, all right, we can't talk to you anymore. You asked for a lawyer. So then they stopped, and then he's like, I guess they were walking out of the room, and he's like, no, wait. Like, I'm
I'll
sorry.
talk.
I'll talk to you. And they were like, well, we can't talk to you now because you asked for a lawyer.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I waive my right to a lawyer from here until further notice, basically.
Oh.
And so then he told his account of the story, which is basically blaming Bray.
So he was almost smart.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. During his trial, they had the DNA that was found on the mask, but Bray was unwilling to testify against him, and there was no actual physical evidence, like no fingerprints in the home or on the gun.
Did they do like a like the gunpowder analysis on his hand or anything?
Well, I don't know that they did, but also they had him like way later that night, so I don't know if it would have
Oh, like I guess if you
like
wash
he could
your
have
hands?
washed his hands. Yeah, all they had was the DNA and an eyewitness account of a young man matching his description.
Mm-hmm.
The judge deemed they weren't allowed to use the evidence gathered in the police questioning because
Oh.
he asked for a lawyer. And so they're like, but like then he said that he waived his right. And they said still that you couldn't use that because they didn't read him his rights again or some BS law like that because he had asked for a lawyer. So the jury wasn't allowed to hear anything that he said then.
Dang.
Yeah, so when he's like admitting to being there and, quote, I mean, I was angry, but no, I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to be scared. I wanted him to be honest, to honestly feel like, take me seriously for a change, not just dismiss me again.
Oh, shit. This is some, like, deep-seated hatred these people got.
Yeah, but that's also really implicating
Yeah?
in like, I was fucking there and I shot this guy.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
but they weren't allowed to use any of that in his.
So they had to build a case without that.
They had to build a case without that. They had to build a case with almost nothing.
Yeah. With just the DNA on the ski mask.
Yeah, and the
And
eyewitness account
yeah.
being like, yeah, he kind of looked like him.
Wow.
Yeah. So the jury is deadlocked with 7 guilty and 5 not guilty.
That would
And-
be hard for me if I were on a jury.
Yeah.
Because you don't know that part, right?
Oh, it's a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
It was declared a mistrial. Then him and
It's so frustrating.
yeah, then him and Bray were tried again together.
Oh,
In-
interesting.
One trial, 2 juries.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. In a world.
He had also told them that Tim's dying words were, "You killed me. You killed me. Why did you kill me?"
I don't want to know that. That's terrible.
Now you do. So then Bray was still cold and callous as she describes her series of events, not advents, that'd be weird. A character witness was called in to discredit Nathan, who was an ex-girlfriend who said that he had raped her.
Ugh.
And then a convicted drug dealer who Nathan had met in jail came forward and said that Nathan told him the whole story about killing Tim, and he believes Bray had a lot of influence on him, but he basically painted this whole picture where, like,
He did it.
yeah, Tim had done it, that Bray was kind of the mastermind, but Tim had done it. But he was kind of discredited too because he was in prison for, like, I think it was like drug convictions and money laundering.
Yeah.
And he wasn't an honest person and had testified against his fellow people back when he was convicted to get like a lesser sentence. So this is just kind of something that he did.
does. Yeah. I think that's like what's so hard about those testimonies is like, why are they really there?
Yeah,
Are they
like
just
jailhouse
saying that?
talk.
Well,
Yeah.
some of them are like, they literally just do it to get out of the jail for a day.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
to go sit in a courtroom.
I've heard that too, where murderers or whatever will be like, all right, I'll take you to the body. And then they'll just have them drive him around for the day and be like, I guess we can't find it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Bray had also written a couple-page letter.
Poem? No. I was hoping it was a poem.
No, it was a letter. And I read it, and it was supposedly she had planned to kill herself, and so she wrote this letter so that her family and whomever would know the truth, quote.
Yeah.
But in it, she states a lot of things, and it's kind of weird. But the most kind of important part is that she says that it was just supposed to be one clean, easy shot to the head. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. It was just supposed to be this one clean, easy shot to the head. And he ended up being shot 4 times in the head, which is fucking horrific.
Yeah, I feel like one is pretty horrific too, though. Like,
Yeah, but if you're still talking and it was like the side of your head or the side of
Yeah.
your face or some shit.
yeah. I mean, it's all terrible, but like, it's gonna be traumatic no matter what, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of pretty implicating as well.
Oh
But,
yeah, like, oh, the fucking plan was.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I had a plan, so that's premeditated.
Exactly.
For
So, the jury comes back. They deliberate for a couple hours for Nathan, or his jury deliberates for a couple hours, and he gets 25 to life for murder in the first degree.
Mm-hmm.
Bray's jury, I think it was like 2 days that it took, and she got life without parole. She
Damn.
got murder in the first degree and lying in wait.
Oh shit.
Which is essentially like she had planned this lunch with her father and she was lying in ambush, basically.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that was like, I mean,
thing.
you know, it's a crime. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I know you shouldn't do it, but like, I didn't know that was like a crime, a labeled crime.
Yeah, like it's another charge, I guess. Like,
Okay, wait. So she got a bigger sentence because of that? Like,
because
got
she
life-
masterminded the whole thing and basically was like, okay, I'm going to have him here at this time. You show up at that time.
Got
This is
it.
when it's going to go down.
And she implicated herself in that note the most. Is that what we're saying?
I
or-
don't think the most. I think
Okay.
it was in the fact that her story was all kind of mixed up and that
She probably gave the most testimony too. Like, the most, like,
more
interview.
Yeah, more of her stuff. She gave a
Got
pretty long
released.
interview, but also more of her stuff was able to be heard
Yeah.
in court because she hadn't asked for a lawyer or whatever. Like that whole thing about Nathan asking for a lawyer and then
Yeah, it got to, like, you couldn't talk about it.
yeah, you weren't
That
allowed.
is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the thing. I think they both should get equal time, and I think they should both get Bray's sentence, right? Like,
Yeah.
'cause fucked up. But, like, it's crazy that he is the one who, supposedly, he pulled the trigger. He did the murdering.
Yeah, there's
and
no
he's got 25.
there's no question about it. Like he pulled the trigger
Yeah, that's crazy.
4 times.
Just because of, like, semantics. Like, you can't say,
At the same time, she's a manipulator who planned this and who like in cold blood planned to have it and manipulated her brother into doing this for her. Like
Yeah.
isn't that kind of also
yeah, I
fucked
don't
up?
know.
And she was
You
there
know,
the
for
whole time.
sure.
She didn't put a stop to it.
For
she,
sure, she's equally as
Yeah.
like, guilty, but I think that it's crazy to me that he literally did the murdering and then he got
less of a
less.
sentence. My thought on that though is like take into account a hitman. A hitman would get less time than the person who contracted the hit because the intent versus the motivation is how I understand it.
I mean, how can you make everything perfect and just and exactly the same across the board?
Yeah, there's no black and white. There's always going to be some kind of a gray
so
area.
It's so crazy. Like, and of course, it all comes down to like, what did that jury see to make this decision?
Yeah,
Right? Like, and they couldn't see a lot of the implicating stuff, but it just blows my fucking mind.
exactly.
It's fucked up.
So, the murder happened in 2007. The trial happened in 2009. So, she was 19 when she got convicted. She was tried as an adult, by the way.
Uh-huh.
In 2015, she was able to appeal and she received a new sentence of 26 years to life.
To life.
She has the chance of parole now
Oh my god.
Um,
Why?
because, according to the new judge, life without parole may be cruel and unusual when it comes to minors. She was a minor when this whole thing went down, but
Oh my god. I don't
so
know
she'll
about
be
that.
eligible for parole in 15 years from now.
Shit, that's crazy.
Isn't it? Also, I saw an interview with her where she's like during this appeals case, and she's like, I think she's 24 or 25 in 2015, and she's like, I'm a different person. Like, I was a monster back then. I don't recognize that person anymore. Like,
Wow.
I'm not that same person, this and that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
basically
like,
just-
I get that because, like, we all are different than what we were when we were 15 or whatever, you know?
Well,
like,
yeah, think
how-
about being 19. I was
Yeah.
a fucking...
Yeah.
Like, I look back and I'm like, God, you're so stupid.
Yeah.
However, I didn't try and kill anybody.
I was just
but-
going to say, but you knew, I feel like that, like, moral compass of right and wrong in terms of, like, life and death is
Yeah.
pretty ingrained from, like, the beginning. So if you were so willing to take someone else's life, what changed in 15 years that you're now like, I wouldn't do that again? Maybe, I guess, the experience? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's my story.
Well, goddamn.
Real close to home.
Yeah, I really like that one. Okay, well, let's perk this up a little bit. Let's do our goddamn for the day.
Oh, good idea. This one comes from Drew.
Drew! Let's hear it, Drew.
I said, goddamn!
It's perfect.
Oh, God, those crack me up. Those are so awesome. Okay, you guys, send us your goddams. Send them to our Gmail account, isgdpodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear them.
Yes, we do. And you can tweet at us at ISGD Podcast.
And then be sure to subscribe and rate us and review us so that we can see what you think about us. And if you send a screenshot of that to our email account, we will send you some cool fucking stickers and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Do that and you'll get stuff.
Also, I should mention that you should include your address in that email so that we can actually mail you the shit.
Good call.
Yeah.
Also, we're on isgdpodcast.com. You can find all of the places that we are hosted there and enjoy listening to us.
We love you guys so much. We love hearing from you. And until next week, adios.
Deuces.
Later.